God designed our bodies to heal themselves, but disease and stress are on the rise. So what's keeping us sick? And is there a cure? Well, Dr. Mark Stengler joins us to reveal how gut health may be the key we need to unlock our healing. This is really a big issue, but it's never too late to start learning how to take good care of ourselves. And of course, you do conventional medicine and holistic, but you really are concentrating on the root cause and dealing with that versus a medication
treating the symptoms.
To treat the symptoms, yeah.
That's true. And so, for example, God has designed the body to be regeneratable. That includes the gut. For example, in your small intestine, we do have stem cells deep in our gut. So our body releases these stem cells when damage is occurring to actually replace the cells of your small intestine, for example. And if you have the right environment, you can replace all your intestinal cells within 3 to 4 days. If your diet's right, your stress is right, your environment's right. So you can heal like you are. But the antibiotics is a big thing because not only does it wipe out the microbiome, which is trillions of bacteria, which should work in synergy in our digestive tract, our immune system, and other parts of the body, but you also get the overgrowth of bacteria that should not be there and yeast or fungal overgrowth, which is very common.
So is it important for us to take a probiotic? I mean, people that don't even have an issue, say, with an antibiotic overuse or whatever.
Well, for patients that are taking antibiotics, I prescribe them probiotics to take during the time of the antibiotic, a couple hours away, and then for a month afterwards, because I know what it does to the gut. We want to prevent problems. The average person in America, yes, has gut problems. They benefit from a good probiotic. But going back a step before that, what's even better is getting in the prebiotic foods, the foods which feed the good bacteria, getting the probiotics in the food like the yogurt and the sauerkraut and fermented foods. So, but a lot of Americans we find won't necessarily do that, so the probiotics are a good option.
So what are some other foods that are really more probiotic and would help our gut?
Well, the classic would be the sauerkraut, the yogurts, and then the fermented soy products, miso, tofu, tempeh, which more Americans have heard about but haven't incorporated into their diet, you know, as examples. But any of the fermented foods.
What about yogurt that has sugar? I mean, almost every good tasting yogurt will have sugar if you look on the label.
Well, that's true, the regular yogurts, but of course you can get the Greek yogurts and yogurts which don't have the added sugar. And I tell people, look, get the yogurt without added sugar, put in a little bit of your fruit in there to sweeten it up. But a lot of my patients, you know, they do not tolerate dairy products. And so fortunately, we have the coconut yogurt, the macadamia nut yogurt, and so there's other alternatives that they can use to get in the good bacteria and not have to deal with the dairy whatsoever.
Can you put a little stevia in there?
Absolutely.
That's what I do, folks.
Yeah. Monk fruit.
What I do.
Yes, I love monk fruit.
What about honey? Can you use honey?
Yes, small amounts of honey. And honey actually is a prebiotic. It feeds the good bacteria in your gut.
Good. Yeah, and also I always recommend that people buy local honey in their area because then it will help with like local
allergies
and stuff like that.
That's right. So like a desensitization for pollens in your area.
Yeah. Okay, so people that are watching, you've heard about the leaky gut. What is that? And what are some of the gut issues that you see all the time in your office?
Well, leaky gut is a real condition. It's in the medical literature. I go through it in the book. But basically what it is, our small intestine, which is the size, the surface area of about 2 tennis courts. You know, you have these little villi that project out, and so by the time you do all that throughout the small intestine, over 20 feet of it, you have about 2 tennis courts, and it's such a critical area of the digestive system because that's where you absorb your nutrients and your foods. And so because of the standard American diet, a poor diet, because of stress, because of antibiotics, because of pain medications, Tylenol, ibuprofen, which damage it, think of it as an analogy between, let's say, I have some saran wrap and I poke little tiny holes in there. And so as we break our food down in our mouth and our stomach and our small intestine, you break down the smaller particles, and only those smaller particles should absorb through into your bloodstream. With leaky gut, which is so common, you absorb larger than normal molecules, and then what happens, your immune system has an inflammatory reaction localized in the gut, so you can get irritable bowel syndromes, colitis, other problems, but systemic. So now we know, the literature is very clear, when you have a leaky gut, it creates an inflammatory response that can range from the brain, cognitive problems, to your skin problems like eczema, psoriasis, to your muscles and joints, say like rheumatoid arthritis, your immune system, a weak immune system or an autoimmune system, very well studied now. it basically affects everything in the body because the small intestine is the gatekeeper as to what gets into the body.
So can you repair a leaky gut, or somebody who has IBS or some of these other conditions?
Oh, 100%.
How do you do it?
Well, we put patients on a modified Mediterranean diet. By that I mean, healthy, fish like wild salmon, for example, fruits and vegetables. But the diet has a moderate amount of olive oil and good fats, but it does not have gluten. And it does not have dairy products, at least initially, because the research is very, very clear. For a lot of people, gluten found in wheat, rye, and barley causes leaky gut. It damages the lining of the small intestine. And so for a lot of people, they report when they get off gluten for a period of time, their gut problems clear up, their joint problems clear up, their cognitive problems, their skin and so forth. There's other reasons why people react to gluten, but it is a trigger of leaky gut for sure.
Would you say that eczema is caused from like a gluten intolerance?
Not all, but a lot of cases are. A lot of cases are.
What for kids, small children that have eczema? What can you do?
We actually do very well with that. So we will work with food sensitivities, like being on a wheat or gluten-restricted diet for a period of time, getting in healthier grains. They can get the brown rice and they can get the buckwheat, which is gluten-free.
What about Ezekiel bread?
Well, Ezekiel bread is definitely a much healthier bread than normal, but it has gluten in it.
It does have gluten.
So what's the difference growing up in the 60s? We ate bread, we ate cheese, and
we ate everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
we had no issue. Yeah.
Allergies of being...
Chemicals. The chemicals in our food supply are a major, major problem. Number two, like an example would be glyphosate, Roundup, as an herbicide, pesticide. It's in our food supply. It lasts in the environment for hundreds of years.
Why would we put all of this in our food when they don't do that in Europe?
Very good question.
Is that so we can get on all these drugs that the pharmaceuticals
pesticide to kill
want
the
us
bugs.
to? I mean,
So they can make the more crops sell more.
Well, no, it's that, but it's also the medications that people are on as a result of some of these conditions that the pharmaceuticals are making billions.
Well, with our technology, it shouldn't happen. But yes, the companies produce these things obviously make billions of dollars, right? And so as you know, in Europe, they have much better restrictions on chemicals in the foods. That's why we need, leaders, administrative officials who are going to take care of this problem, because we're poisoning kids from the time they're born until the time we're seniors. So it's a problem.
But so many doctors are controlled by the pharmaceuticals, and they're afraid.
I think they're indirectly controlled. It's like you said, because, for example, from the time you're in school, you got pharmaceutical companies sponsoring trainings. And then when you're out, you got to do so many continuing education credits every year to keep your licensing. Who sponsors those? And so you get tunnel vision, right? So what's in front of you all the time? And then you got medical boards who say, well, this is really the standard of care. So if you're not using these drugs and trying these natural things, we really don't like that. So they do kind of put you into a tunnel, so to speak.
So what helped you make the transition from conventional medicine to holistic medicine? Because you are also a conventional doctor, but you really believe in treating people holistically, although you will use conventional medicine at times.
Well, I'm kind of a rarity because since I was young, I was into nutrition and holistic medicine. And no joke, so when I was young and I got I can't remember what it was, but maybe, I can't remember if it was $2 or $5 as an allowance every week for doing my chores. I would go down to the health food store and read and buy like magazines and stuff. So I was kind of odd in that way. And then I was into athletics, and so I was always like through diet, nutrition, trying to enhance, and supplements. I'd experiment with supplements, enhance my athletics. So innately, God just designed me to be compatible because it makes more sense. I'm a Christian and I'm a creationist, so I believe God designed the world, that includes humans, and so I know from my training, whether you're a master's in human biology to my medical degree, I know the body's designed, and I know the better we work with the healing systems of the body, the better the results we'll get and the less side effects, versus drugs, while they have their place and I use them when we need to, they usually work counter to the healing systems of the body. So they should be a temporary stopgap, not a long-term solution.
Before you leave, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we would love to hear how the Lord is moving and touching your heart right now. So be sure to comment below and then share this video with someone you feel needs it just as much as you did.